Okay. Can I? This is working out pretty well. And I'm feeling some doubt because this bucket seems way too small. But I should not have felt doubt. Just... Okay. Well, we finally got that last one.
Alright, so after making that part of the video, I've become intrigued about this bit of audio here. I don't know what it sounds like, a bird chirping, or sharpening of knives. But if I go to my noise removal, and I get a profile of it, and using that noise profile, this is the sound of Paul moving. There should have been a volume warning there. But yeah, you can just hear Paul moving and very, very loud. I've upped the, I think I've upped it by 30 decibels, the entire clip here. And I did that so I could hear all the little stuff in the background. I went through the entire audio of petscop 13 and I found this to be one of the most interesting things, because it's the first instance of what I think is Paul in chains. Because if I've taken that noise profile and I've isolated it, now I'm going to try to hear all that noise. I'm going to try hear that noise within this part of the audio. I'll isolate that, and now let's hear what it sounds like. You can slightly hear in the background there is a lot of audio issues when you remove the audio, and it starts to get all messed up, and a lot of that high-pitched ringing might not be anything metallic, but I do think if you listen carefully, that the bass audio that you can still hear in there, I think there is some rattling of chains that you can hear in the background when Paul moved. And here's another clip of Paul moving, and I'll do the same thing. I'll repeat that noise removal there. Once again, sounds like chains. Get another one of Paul moving, this one here, with the chains that we could hear in the background. And this one here, Paul moving again. Every time Paul moves, there is some sort of rattling, a metallic rattling, and I think it is of chains. So every time Paul moves, there is the rattling of chains. And now the other thing I want to talk about is this. All that is ambient background noise that you get when you up the decibel to the degree that I have. It's kind of a bit of corrupted sound that you get when it's trying to hear those little sounds, and it's trying to piece together what those little sounds might sound like, because it doesn't have the full idea of what they sound like, because they're so, they're so silent, but they're just there in the background. Keep that in mind, because that is the sound of a microphone being picked up. That is the microphone being picked up by the head. And it seems like a pretty sensitive microphone. And after that, you can hear this. And what you hear is exactly what I said in the video, the ambient noise getting quieter. I don't know what that is. That kind of... I have no idea what that is. Sounds alien, but it might just be the audio being weird. But you hear that ambience leaving. And once again, in the back here, sound of chains, which suggests that it's Paul picking up the mic. This part sounds like he's putting it into a drawer, or he's put it into a drawer, and he's opening or closing it, and then putting it in there for some reason while it's still on, or maybe he turns it off from the back and you have to put it in something first, I don't know. But this, the fact that it's getting quieter, which means it's being taken from one room to another, because that ambience is going down more and more, and the ambient noise could be caused from the PlayStation or the TV, where Paul is, but that kind of throws a spanner into the mix of why can't we hear the chains rattling. We can hear the chains rattling at the end there, but why can't we hear, if Paul's walking somewhere and it's being taken out of a room, why can't we hear Paul's chains rattling? Which means that it might not be Paul doing it. I thought it was when I heard this, but it might not be Paul removing the microphone from the room, but we might be hearing his chains in the background. I don't know what it is. Because that's not ambience there. This is ambience that sounds like wind whooshing past the mic. This might sound like wind whooshing past the mic, but I have no idea what that is, especially this part here. So yeah, it's going to be up to somebody else to figure out what the hell that is. in this part, I'm just going to show you some of the more interesting things I found within the audio, but I can't really put a finger to. I can't really figure out what they mean. Starting at 52 seconds into the video, we hear Paul, from what it sounds like, typing on a typewriter, and then hearing a car in the background. So, what's happening there? I'm assuming that these rumblings that's just air coming out of his nose or mouth if the microphone is close up to his face. Then, after that, we have the clack and then the typewriter. So, clack and what it sounds like to be a typewriter. That sounds like a typewriter. And then there's this strange noise here, which I'm assuming is just a big exhale of air from Paul. But altogether, yeah, it sounds like Paul's typing something. And then the next bit of information sounds like typewriter again, sounds like a clonk. This sounds like a car going past. I don't know what to make of it other than that he's typing and that a car goes past. Another bit here. This bit here sounds like another car going past. You can hear the car going all through here, but I'm not going to play it because it will just destroy your headphones because it's up too loud, and if I turn it down you can't hear the car. Okay, for this clip I've lowered the decibels of when Paul is talking and the petscop gameplay, but what I'm more interested in is this bit here, as it sounds like after Paul immediately captures Ronith, which is this huge chunk of audio here, you hear this, which is two inhales, and all together
I just... Did I...
he says, I just and did I. And after he captures Ronith, he takes two very confused inhales. It sounds very strange. Like something's happened. And then he seems...
I just... Did I...
He seems very disoriented after he's captured Ronith. Well, very disoriented. He doesn't seem to know what he's just done. But he's clearly captured Ronith. It comes up with a big twirling sign saying caught and the music. But for some reason after that there is a long pause, breath, and some sort of confusion about what he's just done. And then the last thing I want to show you is here at 240. I'm sure people have already found it. And because I've seen it on the petscop subreddit. Paul saying, who or what's that? Get ready for your earphones. So you got the two knocks, what's that? And then two knocks again. I'm fairly sure it says what's that. that's everything that I can find within this petscop 13 audio from 3:30 till the end of the video, because that's when all the ambient noises and background noises start to become much more interesting. This doesn't tie into any other. I'm not trying to make any theories here that also use other videos as explanations here. Simply going on the fact that this is the only audio that might give some form of information to where Paul is and what his situation is. The current YouTube description of what Paul is doing is that he's playing the game. He later passed ownership of the channel to us, but continued to record himself at our strong suggestion. Though he had issues with the arrangement, these have finally been settled. From that description and the audio that we have been given here, what we can hear is Paul writing on a typewriter. We can hear chains every time Paul moves, and we can hear muffled sounds of cars going by, which suggests he's in a house, which might suggest that he's locked up in a house somewhere. The theory that's come from this is that Paul is being forced to play this game against his will, and the proprietors of the channel are the ones that are forcing him to do it.